the air. Ideally, in terms of reducing emissions, we need to either close down or retrofit every conventional coal-fired power plant on the planet by 2030. Now that is an enormous job. I mean, and retrofit it with carbon capture and storage. It's the only other option.
This is a replica
and I don't think we'll get that. So we're going to have to attack this
mask
issue from a series of different
made of
directions.
ceramics.
Increase our efficiency of transport use and move to electric.
This is a replica of ceramics, a ceramic mask they found in the ruins in Mexico. I'm not sure if it was the Aztec or the Mayas. On the forehead is a lizard. The ears are they have some ornaments in the earlobe. Very interesting. And let's see, that's not ceramic, it's wood. But here is another very famous piece from the ruins from Mexico. So it's 7 men in a circle, and in the middle is a fire. So circles of men around fire. It's been going on for thousands of years. So I took my first ceramics class about 2 years ago in January 2007, and the teacher was Juliana Balog from Hungary. And so basically one of the first things to learn is how to, they call it throw, how to use the wheel to make these round objects like bowls, vessels, cups. So you make the cup separately and then you attach the handle separately. And there are many different kinds of clays, and there are then many different kinds of glaze. So glaze is something that you put over at the end. The piece is fired 2 times. It's a long process. Ceramics is a very long process. So the good thing is there are a lot of facilities at the school where I go to. So here's a cup that I made on the wheel, and then I attached the handle. So this clay, I'm not sure what that clay was, but this is porcelain. It's very light, very white. What's happened here is the bottom of the piece blew up, which happened with another piece, this one. So if there is a small bubble of air anywhere, in both of these cases it was at the bottom of the piece will blow up in the fire. And in there at the bottom you see a crack. That means there was too much water left over when the piece was being made. Same thing here, in the bottom is a crack. So there's a lot of details that have to be taken care of when working with ceramics. This is only my 2nd class, so I got a long ways to go. But I had seen people at college going into ceramics class, but about 6 or 7 years ago a student mentioned to me she was going to ceramics in Michigan, where it cost about $400 to attend a class. In California, the good thing is we can get the classes pretty cheap. So she was saving up $400 every 3 months, three or 4 months to be able to take ceramics. And the reason she told me was, why does she go to take ceramics, is for therapy. That when you are working with clay, your mind goes elsewhere. You're thinking about other things, and so you go into like a meditative state, and it's very therapeutic. So one of the things I like to do is have some writings, calligraphy on pieces, and my teacher says that inside of a piece, decorating it is not at all common in the West. But so in this piece, there is, where the green part is, that's a I think that's a glaze, but I'm not sure. But it's been wiped off in these areas. So this piece has been through the fire twice already, which is the normal thing. But I'm gonna put it in there a third time because I wrote on it again. So the first step is you make the piece like this one. So it's on a wheel that's spinning, and first you have to make sure that in the clay, which will look like dough, like flour you're about to make bread, so you have to make sure there are no bubbles of air. So you have to knead that dough, knead that clay like it's dough. So if there is a bubble, for example here, when you put it in the fire, the air expands and it blows up the piece. So at the bottom you write your name and a date. But basically, back to like sequential steps, you take the clay, make sure there are no bubbles, you throw it on the wheel is spinning. First you spin the wheel fast so you can center the clay and it's not wobbling, and then you slow down the speed and you start opening up the middle. So at the beginning it looked like this, you're trying to center it, and then you put your thumbs in the middle and you open it up, so then it's like that, you've opened it up, and then you have to place your, using both hands, there's a technique to pull up the walls. So that's what I was trying to do here, but then the walls were falling. So also if the clay is too wet or too dry, you will have other things that's going to happen. So after you make the piece with the clay, you shape the clay, then you have to put this piece, wrap it up in plastic and put it on the shelf for a week or 10 days to let it dry slowly. If you don't put it in plastic and you let it dry fast, it's going to crack, and then those cracks will expand when you put it in the fire and it will break in the fire. So that's the first thing to do, and then there are like 3 more steps.